Hi, my name is Cassie Young, and I am the president of Students for Sensible Drug Policy at Ohio State University. I will be graduating in May with my master's in social work and public policy and management, and my final capstone research is entitled Drug Policy's Effect on Child Well-Being, a comparative analysis of criminal versus public health models internationally. I can be pretty windy, so I'm going to do my best to break this down quickly for you so that I don't take up too much of your time. And I really appreciate you all considering me for an SSDP board position. While attending school full-time, I am also a half-time policy intern as well as a half-time grant manager for a local child support agency. In addition, I am involved with SSDP OSU, cannabis legalization campaigns in Ohio, as well as a community group called Restored Citizens and Communities for Change. I got my bachelor's degree in political science and Latin American studies from Miami University, and that included a study abroad trip to Honduras. And this kind of began my understanding of how U.S. affairs and policies, especially drug policies, affect the well-being of children and families everywhere from my native Ohio to my adopted Honduras. And this was even more solidified for me when I interned for the Children's Defense Fund of Ohio, when we were organizing their national conference, and I was able to attend and hear from the likes of Maya Angelou, Michelle Alexander, and Trayvon Martin's parents, as well as met many advocates and restored citizens and youth affected by criminal justice and drug policies. And that was briefly after I actually worked for a lobbying firm in DC that represented a host of clients, and I did a lot of different things for them, including some preparation and filing for lobbying, as well as fundraising for members of U.S. Congress. So I do have some unique skills that I hope that I would be able to apply to board experience with SSDP. And just to explain a little bit further my passion in the area of drug policy, I spent 2 years as a caseworker for this local child support agency, and I really saw firsthand the cycles that parents and families get trapped in of poverty, incarceration, poor health, and I really saw how drug policies and its unequal enforcement had a deeply profound and negative effect on these families. And so that's why part way into my tenureship as a caseworker at the agency, I started my master's program in social work and public policy and management to marry my experience in the political realm and the social services realms to better support families through better policies, such as the ones that we're trying to institute at the child support agency that I'm working on through my grant position. The grant's from the federal government and it's behavioral economics, and it relates a lot to drug policy because the child support program is going from a tradition of heavy-handed enforcement to a new paradigm in which we are using evidence to more effectively and more compassionately serve families. And so I really see a lot of that crossing over into drug policy and a lot of intersectionality there. And I really hope to apply my work that I'm doing now eventually to work in the realm of drug policy is my goal. And so I am really interested in this paradigm shift that's going on in drug policy to recognize the harms associated with enforcement techniques used upon especially underrepresented populations and committing to providing evidence-based remedies to those communities. This past summer, I traveled to Australia with my social work program to study their child welfare and children's mental health system. And I also attended the European Drug Summer School in Lisbon, Portugal, put on by the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drug Addiction, where I met some really awesome people from around the world working in this realm. And I also reestablished a chapter of SSDP at OSU this past fall, and we've been working on various projects since in the realm of harm reduction, criminal justice reform, and cannabis legalization. And so I believe I could bring a wealth of strategic thinking to the board, as well as a knowledge of drug policy and, in general, policy and management of government and nonprofit organizations that I have picked up through my master's programs. And I would also bring just this passion for drug policy that I have. I've committed to studying it and criminal justice reform and their intersections throughout my graduate career. And like I said, I hope to eventually work in drug policy. And I believe that my perspective from leading an SSDP chapter at one of the largest universities in the country would prove valuable. I would truly be honored to serve on the SSDP board, and I greatly admire SSDP for its role in drug policy reform and its strong civil rights advocacy record. I have found so much hope in SSDP and the people I've met through the drug policy reform movement, and I've been greatly energized by this organization and other organizations like it. So that has been something I never expected, and I would love to give back to an organization that was able to give that to me. So thank you for considering me for the board, and goodbye from Ohio.